All right. I think we're live now. Hopefully everybody could hear it, everybody can see it. We kind of messed up with the stream by not I'm kind of a noob at streaming on YouTube, so we had a different link, but we're here and we're ready to go. This stream we're going to be talking a little bit about Astro and basically our first impressions, kind of what we think about Astro, where we think it's going, why we're kind of excited about it, and then we're going to go through a little example that Dennis built up about a portfolio site. And yeah, so it'll just be a fun show session talking a little bit about Astro. So I'm sharing my screen now. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So like, what is Astro and why are we excited? So it's a new JavaScript framework. Those come out like every what, like week, every couple days. But I guess Dennis, why did you decide to try it out? Because I tried it out because you tried it out, and then I'm like, oh, if Dennis is trying something new, then there might be something here.
Yeah, I don't know. So the big one for me was just I saw Fireship's video. I want to see what the heck it was about because I've been watching every new JavaScript framework release, remix, and so on. And by the way, I'm at this weird setup where I'm actually streaming with two different laptops if anybody's watching. So basically for me, it was my portfolio site. So if I pull up DennisIV.com, I've been looking to rebuild it for a while. And I do. Oh, we're not sharing.
Yeah, I put yours up now.
Got you. So I was basically looking for something that I can build out a static site with. Maybe later on I can make some API calls, but I don't need much more than like authentication and so on, or nothing like authentication. So I just needed something that I can host a site on and write Markdown. So Markdown was the biggest thing for me. Next.js was where I was going. And then once I saw this Astro thing, I decided to just give it a try and ended up rebuilding my site almost by accident. I was literally like testing it, took my framework or took my HTML and CSS files, put it in here, and was able to just integrate it really, really easily. So with Next.js, you can use Markdown. You can use something called MDX.js, which is basically a way to extend Markdown. You can add components, interactive layers to it. Astro already has most of that already built in. So with Next.js, Traversing Media actually has a video on this where he integrates Markdown with Next.js, and it's kind of a process where Astro already has it built in, and then the MDX integration is very easy. So if we look at the site here, like these are my articles. I love just writing in Markdown. A lot of developers do. If you are a developer and you haven't done it, you probably should, because it makes for adding code blocks and all this stuff right into your page, or adding it into your page really easy. So if I actually pull up one with code blocks here, so let me try to zoom in here. So this is Markdown again. This is what I wanted. I just wanted an article. I wanted it to be SEO friendly. So I just wanted to write these and post them up. So that was kind of my reason for that. Astro made it very easy. It's really the in-between of like React, Next.js, and even combines like server-side rendering with it. Because for SEO, for anybody that doesn't know, hard to do that with React because you're rendering everything on the client side. That's kind of an issue because browsers can't read your site. So server-side rendering is awesome. Astro gives you all those options. You can do everything on the server side. You can even bring in different frameworks and JavaScript into your front end if you need it. But for the most part, it's all going to be server side. So right now, I actually don't know too much about Astro. I'll actually jump into this to us. Here's kind of like my intention for the stream here is to start going through the docs here. And I want to do this together because we're both going to be casually learning. I want to start picking apart the docs. I want to show to us how to set up an Astro site. He actually copied my website line for line, right? You just cloned it because I do have it as a public repo. So right here, you can literally go and find DennisIV.com and clone it. What was your website? It was like the Das Petra.
Yeah, that's it. .com. Yeah, it's literally it's very similar.
Yeah, I mean it's literally my site. Yeah,
I just took out some of the stuff that I wasn't using. They like you had all the members there and some other things, and I don't have any courses to promote, so I just took out the things I didn't need.
Yeah, hey, it works, So yeah, you clone the site, you know how to make it work, I guess. But let's go ahead and actually start getting into it. So again, we want to go through the docs because I'm going to be learning along with everyone right now. Kind of show everyone the build process for whenever this video is posted after. And then what I want to actually do from here is build out this website right here. So this is like a new version of my portfolio project. This is actually going to be something that I'm going to use for my next Django course. So I'm also going to build this out with the Django backend. But essentially, homepage here with our introduction, my tech stack, I just threw in some stuff. I do know more than that. And then the articles I just created in these little cards here. So if we go to the projects page, it's just going to be projects. So instead of articles, it's projects. You can change that up. And then when you actually go to one, right now, this is all in Markdown. I actually just copied some code that I was prepping for this stream, but because of the technical difficulties this morning, couldn't get that over with, so I just pasted it in here. So yeah, this is what we're going to build out, also learning Astro. So let's actually go ahead and start here. What I'm going to do here is just talk about installing it, so that's jump in wherever you want, and then we'll go through the documentation. And by the way, the documentation on Astro is absolutely amazing. There's very little that I couldn't figure out without just looking here. So first thing is, if we go to the Astro website, it's docs.astro.build. If we go to the get started, you want to make sure you have Next.js, or not Next.js, NPM or Node.js installed, because we are going to use NPM. And to create an Astro site, we're just going to do NPM create Astro, and then just do @latest if you want the latest version of it. Astro does have a bunch of awesome templates, but we're going to start completely from scratch. So let's actually just do that, and then we'll just continue from there. So I'm using a Mac. So what's up?
Before we start, so I just had this thought while you were talking, and I got curious. Why do you? So you know how? So what you mentioned, like server side rendering and all that stuff for SEO. So every other platform, every other framework that was built for server side rendering had like big roots in not server-side rendering, just like normal stuff. So React was built way before Next.js was built.
Yeah.
Vue was built way before, what is it, Nuxt, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What other? Svelte was built way before SvelteKit was developed. And it seems like Astro, they went with the server-side rendering. Like that's the main thing. That was their default. They didn't even I think that kind of sets it. Maybe it doesn't set it apart, but like they went with that thought process that it needs to be server-side rendered, and the Astro components and all that was built to work nicely with server-side rendering. And
yeah, Jeff from Fireship said it's like the framework of frameworks. Like it really thought of everything, where you have the flexibility to do whatever you want, and you can use React, you could use Vue or Svelte actually in Astro. Like it really lets you do whatever the heck you want, but it considers almost everything. Like this is probably the most complete framework that I've seen, like by far. And I'm definitely not a JavaScript framework type of guy, but it seems like it has everything in place with all the flexibility that you need. So that's a huge one for it, or a huge reason to use it. Yeah. So let me just start creating the site. And do you know how to zoom in on Mac? Again, I'm a new Mac user. Normally don't use it. I want to set the entire zoom of the site here. Of like my desktop. It was like, instead of hitting like Control plus, trying to make it to where
I know there's a setting somewhere in the settings, but
okay, let me just try to zoom into the documentation. I'll just try to zoom in on every page manually then. Okay, so NPM create Astro latest. In fact, I'll just do NPM create Astro. So this is where I'm going to create it, CD'd on my desktop, and this will give us a new Astro site. So NPM create Astro. Okay. Let's go ahead and say we want the packages.
So I think I figured out how to zoom in the whole screen if you want it. So it's Option Command and then equal sign, or the one to the left of it.
Okay, I'll do that in a second. Let me just finish up this build then. Okay, so once we do that, it's going to install the packages we need. It's going to ask us where we want the website. If I just hit enter, it's going to give me the boilerplate files in the current directory that I'm in. So right now, I'm just going to call this site Astro_website. So what it's going to do is it's going to create this folder on my desktop and then add in the boilerplate files here. So Astro website. At this point, I'm going to go with empty project because I want to do all this from scratch. So there's, again, a lot of templates that you can use here. If you do just basic, that's also a really good one, but we'll start with empty because we'll do it from scratch. We want to install the dependency, so we'll just do yes. And now it's going to ask us if we want to use TypeScript here in a second. So we'll just give us a moment.
Yeah, That was right. I had no idea there was a zooming
How to
thing.
zoom?
Yeah.
Okay, so initialize an empty GitHub repo. Oh, what did I click? I just clicked the default. Did that go with TypeScript? Am I gonna have to redo this? TypeScript relaxed. Okay. It's not gonna throw me off if I don't use TypeScript, right?
I don't know. You don't know TypeScript?
No, I don't use TypeScript.
Come on, Dennis.
I'm gonna create a new one and we'll just do Astro
I think
Astro Stream. Let's call that Astro Stream. So let's just start this again.
I might be wrong, but can you rate?
No, you should be fine to use regular JavaScript. I just want to make sure because if I'm
Okay.
teaching it and I miss something, no, I mean I've used it before. I'm definitely not one of those TypeScript advocates.
Yeah.
Okay, empty GitHub repo, and then I'm just going to do. I prefer not to use TypeScript. There we go. Okay, so this one's called Astro website, right? Is that what I call it?
I wasn't paying attention.
Oh,
Probably.
come on, man.
The first one was Astro website for sure. The second one,
Okay, then I'll just find it on the desktop. Okay, so what I'll do is we'll open up a new window here and open Astro Stream. That's what I call this one. Let's go to desktop, Astro Stream.
Right.
And now to run our server. So we'll go through the files here in a second, but we're just going to open up the terminal. Make sure you're CD'd into that folder if you're doing this from the terminal. And we'll just do npm run dev. Okay, so this should get us our first Astro site. Then this is on 3001. Normally it's going to be on port 3000, but because I do have another website open, it's going to be on 3001. This is my website right here. So this is the first page, and let's look at the file structure. So this is why I wanted to start from scratch. For the most part, you have your package.json file. A lot of Astro configuration is going to be in astro.config.mjs here, but we're going to focus on the source folder. And then we do have file-based routing like Next.js. So right now, inside of the pages folder, we have an index.astro page. So that's going to be the extension. You actually could use .html files. There's multiple different types of files you can use here. But if you want to use an Astro type of site or use Astro syntax, make sure it's .astro. So this is our page right here. This is the HTML template, and index.html or .astro will give us the home site. So we see Astro. We'll just do stream. If I do this, we do have live server, and it looks like I just camel case that. Astro Steam. There we go. So that's the site here. So that's inside of source and pages. So this is how we do this. If we want to add in a second page, let's say we wanted to add in a projects page. Let's go ahead and do this. We'll just do projects.astro, and I'll slowly start building out the site that we want. We'll just do H1, and we'll just do projects up here. So if I save that, I can actually go to /projects, and there we go. That's our projects page. So right away, again, with the files, it already knows how to redirect that. And let's talk about this page now. So if you look at this, we are actually building out a component here. So components, just like React, can be pages and parts of the website. I don't know how Flutter does this to us. I know you have a lot of Flutter experience. I'm sure Svelte probably does that too. Yeah, so you have a component, but instead of having to create like a function like you would in React, you just simply add it into the page. So there are actually two parts of a component, and you'll notice that inside of the index.html page. So let's actually go to the Astro documentation, and let's just see what that looks like. So inside of the docs here, let's go to components. Oh, and by the way, this is it's a multi-page application. It's not a single page application. So there are ups and downs to that. You are reloading a new page every single time or rendering a new page, unlike a standard single page application. So one of the issues is keeping state maybe with that. There's ways to do that, but that's just something to consider. So if we go to components here, there's two main parts of a component. So first of all, if we want to write JavaScript inside of our component, we have our component script, I believe that's what we called it. So we have the component script at the top here. Let me zoom in a little bit more. So we have the component script and then the component template underneath. So if we go back to our index.html, if we want to do any JavaScript here, let's say if we want to import something, import a specific file, we'll do all of that inside of the component script. So you just do 3 hyphens, open and close that. All your JavaScript gets added here, and then your template gets added here. So that's why we're able just to do this. And in theory, by the way, we don't need our component script. So this is the template that's going to be rendered. And that's essentially the two parts of the component. Now, any JavaScript inside of that component script is going to be rendered on the server side. So let's say if I just did console.log and we said hello world, this will not show. So this is going to be rendered on the server side. You won't be able to just go in your browser and open it up. So if I just go back to the home page, you can't do this. I just want to be able to show you that it's not going to happen. So you won't be able to console anything out that's rendered on the server side. It's meant for loading in data or anything like that. You actually could add in interactive JavaScript though, and we'll talk about that later. So if we want to look into that, that's going to be in integrations, maybe CSS and styling. We'll find it later. So we'll talk about that. That's going to be in one of these sections. So with that, I did have some notes prepped here, so I'm gonna have to go back and forth here and try to see what we need to do here. Let's start by building out a little layout here for this homepage. So you notice right now, if I go to my projects page, I don't have any HTML wrapped around it. So the page is kind of empty here. I only have that in my homepage, but I also don't want to repeat this head tag, the body tag in every single page. So I actually want to build this and repeat this, basically build a component so I don't have to repeat it. So in our source folder, we have our pages, and I'm just going to create a components folder. So just like React, we're going to have a components folder and components. Is it an N at the end, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to sound it out. So we'll have a components folder, and we're also going to have a layout folder. So we'll just do.
Also, I really like, so when I first took a look at Astro, I mean, this is kind of a not as important as all the other things you were talking about, but I really like how the components are structured in the file. I've worked with like Next.js, and it annoyed me where all the JavaScript, all the JSX and everything is all just like clumped together and like seems unorganized. And I'm sure if you work with it long enough, like it's fine. But whenever I worked with it, it annoyed me, and that was part of the reason I tried out Svelte next, because they have it very organized there as well. It's in a similar way as this, and then Astro does, like, Svelte has JavaScript, the HTML like template, and then CSS. All you can have it all in one file, like separated out. And here it's the same thing, except like CSS is. You might be able to put it in, but like that one was less important.
Yeah, there's
Tailwind.
There's ways to do both with Astro. There's definitely ways to absolutely do both here. So let me pull up my GitHub repo. So I want to be able to reference some code here.
Just you don't have it all memorized?
Yeah, after a day or two of learning Astro.
Okay. There's another concept in Astro that like sets it a little bit apart from other websites, other frameworks that is built with, and it's called Astro Islands. So that's kind of if you think about server-side rendered sites, usually if they have something that needs to change on the site, JavaScript is on that whole page. Then there's server-side generated sites, right? So server-side rendered is where you can have the whole site be JavaScript, and SSG is where it's all like static HTML, right?
Yeah, something like that. I was going to see how you're going to explain that part. It's SSG, SSR. You have server-side rendering, server-side generation. Is that right?
Yeah,
and then,
and I think that's when, like, basically, I could be slightly like not getting all the details, but from what I understand, server-side generator is like where on the server it generates the HTML files and just sends the HTML to your website, and it's just a static site generator. There you go. That's the word. So I was right.
Yeah, static. There we go. Server-side generation, static site generator. I had that one wrong too.
You just the words get confusing. But so basically,
yeah,
it generates HTML on your server, sends it to your website, and just displays a static site. When you have server-side rendered, like the whole site is like rendered in with JavaScript. So what Astro does is it has Astro Islands, where you basically have little islands or components that you use throughout the page. So like headers, footers, like any other component you define. And if they don't need to change, if they're staying static, they use it's just static HTML code in there. But then if that one component needs to be updated, it can be updated with JavaScript, and only that part gets like rendered for editing. Rendered.
Yeah, so you can even tell that there's this part here in the documentation where you can actually have only certain parts of your page rendered depending on whether it's in frame or do you want it to load right away on page load and so on. So it is pretty cool actually how that works.
Yeah. So like Next.js and like Cellkit and all those have like pretty good like speeds, but according to the documentation here, Astro is like even more quicker just because it doesn't need to load in JavaScript and all these other parts, and it's just static site.
So this is what you're talking about right here. So do you want to render this on load? So you can say client.load, client.visible, which will only render the component when it's visible within the page and so on, or you can just say load it whenever.
So, yeah, so that's an even more control. But if you scroll up on the docs section on the left, there's like in the topics, there's a whole Astro Islands up more close to the top right there, Astro Islands. So yeah, and if you go, there's a nice image right there.
Yeah, I see that.
So those specific components that they highlighted red and green, if you saw while Dennis scrolled past, like those can be updated, but the rest of the site is just HTML.
Yeah, definitely one of the cool aspects of it. Okay, let me hop back into the code base. By the way, interrupt whenever you want. It helps me think, catch up on things. Right. Let me try to zoom in. Okay, so we have our home page, and let's go ahead and do this. So we created a layouts folder here, and this is where we're going to create a component, and that's going to be our main layout. So we'll call this main layout.astro. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to take the entire home page, throw that in here, and this is going to be the layout for our home page, and then we're going to go ahead and remove this part because that's going to be specific to the home page, and we're going to use something called a slot. So if we look at a slot, it's basically saying it's going to let us know where the child content goes. So we're basically saying, hey, use this layout anywhere where we extend this layout, go ahead and throw that in here. So it's kind of like passing down props. So if I look here within our component, we should have a section called slots somewhere. Try to find it. Let's do Control F here.
So do you know
the slots right here? So the slot element is a placeholder for external HTML content, allowing us to inject a slot or child elements. So we simply throw in a slot here. And once we have that, go ahead, Tadas.
I was going to say, so it's the very same concept in Svelte, which is the last thing I worked with, is they have slots in there too. I can't remember if Next.js had something similar. I'm assuming it did. But I remember, actually, I could look it up.
With Next.js, I believe it's just props. I believe you just do that.
I'll pull up.
Or you just do children or something like that, because you do children in React. So what I'm going to do is actually wrap this slot. So I want all the child content to sit inside of this section container. And later on, I'm going to add styling. So I want to add in some classes right now. And we're just going to go ahead and give this one a class of container -- main. Okay, so that's our main layout. Now to actually use this, what we're going to do here is we're going to go back into index.astro, and we're just going to import that container and then wrap this content. So we'll just do import. Then we're going into layouts, and we're getting main layout.astro. And then what I could do is just go ahead and remove everything here. Take just the H1 tag. So main layout, close that off here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add something into the main layout for now as placeholder, just so we can see that it's working. So let's go into the main layout, and we'll just say H1 layout navbar. Okay, so if I go to the page now, we should see it. So there we go. So we have Astro, Steam, and then I'm just going to leave it like that. I like that little error there. And then if we go to our projects page, we also want to do the same. So we'll just go to projects. Let's add the main layout here. So we'll just wrap this. That can be in the projects.astro page. So we'll add the component script here. So import from layout, main layout, and then just wrap it. That concept makes sense to us.
Yeah.
How we create the
So
layout.
it's very similar in like most of the frameworks like out there. So you just set up your little, like the slot is basically like a little area that will be the changing part, and the rest of your site, usually your nav bars, your footers, those probably are going to be the same throughout the whole site. So you don't really, that's why you put that main layout, and then you do that usually. So most, I don't know if in this example we're going to do it, but usually do that for like articles and stuff too. Because most articles are going to have, all these different parts.
Same content, yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is create a nav bar real quick, and I'm just going to create some links. And if anybody wants to put their resume just to follow the template structure, I'm going to create another link, and we'll just do that for products. So we're going to have like a product section because I do want to show people how to make API calls with this. So we'll do projects and products, and then a resume. So let's say you want to link up your resume. This link won't actually work, and we'll just do resume. Okay, so for this nav bar, instead of putting it into every single page, we're just going to bring this into the main layout here. Okay, so let's get the component script.
So I found another website that kind of talks about why Astro was built in the first place. So while you're putting in that nav bar, I can kind of go over this a little bit. So the idea behind Astro is this little one-liner that they put at the top. It's an all-in-one web framework for building fast and specifically content-focused websites. So Astro was built to handle content. So like Dennis mentioned, it had MDX like directly added in, like supported by Astro, which helps you write articles and stuff like that. And they built it to be like fast. So they said there's 5 things that separate Astro from all the other competition. So one that's content focused. The other one is that it was server first, which we kind of talked about how it wasn't built on top of React or Vue. Like it was built with server side rendering like as a default. Then yeah, obviously fast by default is like with those islands, easy to use. You don't need to be an expert to build something with Astro. I mean, you got to know web development pretty well, but besides that, I guess in general, yeah, it's easy to use and easy to see, and fully featured but flexible. So there's over 100 Astro integrations to choose from. And let me look into what exactly an integration is.
I think those are like external packages like MDX, React, a lot of in the docs, they actually have the integration section.
Yeah.
For some reason, this nav bar is not being imported. Fun part about live streams. Let's see. Just remove that. Let's see if, okay, so the import error happens when I start using the component. So nav bar.
Do you have to?
You don't have to export it like you would in React.
I don't think so. Yeah, you definitely don't have to export it, but.
Okay, let's see. I'm doing something wrong here.
I'm going to pull up my example.
So while I'm working on that, or while Tadas is trying to check that out here, what I'm going to do here is actually pass in some props here. So inside of my main layout, we're just going to go ahead and go ahead.
So do import and then type out navbar and then from that package site. So
I see.
Import
okay.
navbar from.
Import navbar from. Yeah, you're right. Okay.
I was going to say at the beginning, but I didn't want to sound wrong. Oh, and then we had some help in the chat too.
Nice.
Attention better.
Okay, and that link should say projects here. Okay, so we're going to pass in some props here in a second, but once we finish up the projects page. Okay, so we have home and projects, and products is not currently working. So right now what I'm going to do is change the title. So it's might be hard to see, but if you look at my title, I guess I can't really zoom in more. but it says my first project. So that's the default title that I put into main layout. So what I want to do is make this one dynamic. So we'll just do title here. And to get props with Astro, we're just going to go ahead and do, let's see, how did I do that? We're just going to go ahead and destructure this. So we're just going to get title, and this is going to be from Astro.props. So we're going to destructure the title, but now we need to pass this in. So on index or index.astro, we're just going to do title, so we can pass in a prop like this. It's a lot like React, and we'll just say Dennis Ivy, throw in my name here. And then for the projects page, we'll just do title projects. Okay, so now when I go to the home page, let's see, did I not pass that in? Okay, so the title should be destructured and then simply render that out. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. Okay, so I'm looking at this one. Okay, so here we go. Dennis Ivy. I'm pointing here, but it's right here. And then when we go to projects, it says projects. So that's the title. So we're able to pass in any kind of props we want through the parent component. We simply throw that in into that layout right here where we're using it. We pass it in, and then we get that prop like that. Okay, so I'm just looking at my notes, making sure I grab everything. So let's see, what do I want to do next here? So the next thing I want to do is show the built-in markdown. So I actually was going to do this a little bit later, but there's different ways of doing this. But markdown is as simple as going ahead and rendering a .md file. So what I'm going to do here is actually create a page here or a folder inside of pages. So that's going to create the new file structure, and we're just going to say projects, or we're going to do project, and then we're going to throw in the project name. So it's going to be my domain project and then the project name. So let's just do a new file, and we'll call this my first -project. And for now, we'll just do file-based routing, but we'll change that later. So my first project.astro, and I can just go ahead and start writing markdown. We'll just say my title. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but there is
.md.
Yeah, I just realized that. I was like, why is it not showing? By default, with VS Code, there is an extension called Astro, so just look this up. I already had this installed, but it should prompt you to install this, so that'll give you the Astro syntax highlighting. Okay, so we'll just do some random content and then some text here. So if we do that, that should let us add in some markdown. Let's just bold this one. So to bold that in markdown, we just wrap it. And now if I go to my first project,
you got to go to /projects/my first.
Yeah, you're right. So that's the file structure.
Yeah. Project. Remember, you didn't put the S in.
I got it. There we go.
There you go.
Okay, so this is why I loved Astro. This was the biggest one, was to use markdown. There was no configuration that I needed, and there is ways to render all these or a list of projects out dynamically. So we'll get into that, but that's how we're able to do this. So there's a few things that we can do in here. So in order to use a layout in markdown, you can actually just simply use the layout key. So we can do layout, and we can specify the layout we want to use. So at this point, we'll just go into, I think we have to do / and then we're going into layouts and then main layout like this.
You misspelled layouts. FY. There you go.
Okay, so that's one way to get layouts in markdown if this works correctly. So let's see.
Main layout, does it have to be main layout.astro or no?
Probably. Trying to do this on 2 computers. Okay, so there we go. So now we have our layout. It's as simple as importing it right here, specifying this. Now, later on, when we want to render all of our projects, we actually could just do something called draft. So there's a way to render these out, and we can say true, and this will actually make this page a draft. So it'll be visible if we go to it directly, but it won't be rendered out later once we actually render this out on our homepage or something like that. So we'll get back to this a little bit later because I do want to make these pages dynamic. But before we do that, because I actually want to be able to show you the issue, let's actually create a page and make an API call for some dummy data here. So for this, we're going to go into a new page called projects, and we're going to make a call, and then we're actually going to link up to specific like product pages. So we're going to render out some products and then go and add in product pages themselves. So we'll go into pages here. We'll create a new page, and this one will be called products. And I already, go ahead.
Have you ever heard of the UI framework called Lit?
Lit or Lint?
Lit.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Yeah, well, apparently Astro supports it. I've seen I see a couple that I've never even heard of. So it supports Vue, Svelte, React, Solid, JS. I've heard of from Fireship, and then Lit apparently, then P-React with Preact, and then Alpine JS. So
yeah, pretty much integrates with anything. Okay, so just do. I think that's what makes it so cool. Okay, so I just want to make sure we have the projects page, and I already linked this up, or products.
Import main layout from layout.
Auto fill that. Okay, so here we go. We have our projects and products page. So what I'm going to do here is go ahead and create a section for my products here. And we actually need to make this API call. So we're going to have to do a few things. One, we're going to have to make the call, render out a list, and then we're going to have to create the links for these pages. And I'll explain kind of what's going on at this point and why we need to do that. So for this, what I'm going to do is actually use some dummy data. So there's a lot of websites. If I go to, let's say, JSON dummy data, there should be a link that I can use right away. So it's dummyjson.com. And there should be a link for products here. So we're going to go into this one right here. And this is all the JSON data. So I'll just zoom in a little bit. So we have this products attribute right here, and then a bunch of products here. So let's make an API call here and then render this out. So to actually make this call, let me pull up the example that I have here. This is definitely the hardest stream I've done with crossing hands and trying to take care of everything.
I don't want to interrupt your flow, but I got some more facts I could throw your way.
Go ahead.
So they mentioned, I talked about at the beginning how like Next.js and all that stuff is already pretty fast, but apparently like Astro makes it even faster. And they have some insights based on research on like why it's important to have a website that's faster. So like there's companies that have, if you go to why Astro on the Astro documentation or yourself, you can see it said like 50% faster like page loads converted to 12% more sales for one company. 40% faster page loads for Pinterest converted to 15% more signups. And from BBC, like I guess there was a big research thing done. For every second that your site is slower, you lose 10% of users.
Also good for SEO too, big one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make a quick API call here. So the thing about this is not going to happen on the page load. This is going to happen on the server side. So that's kind of the cool thing, is this call is going to be ran before the page is even generated. So we're going to make this call, and then it's going to almost save it as static data. So we'll just do response, and we can actually call await right in here. It's already an async. I guess it's already wrapped, so we don't need to do anything here. And then we can use fetch here, and let's go into this link right here. Go back, we'll throw that in. We'll make the call here, and then we can go into data, and we'll just do response.json. So we do have to parse this data. And now to render these products, we're just going to go ahead and map through them. So we'll just do, so we have this syntax right here, so we can just use these curly braces. You can add in logic directly into your template here. A lot of frameworks have this already. So if you're from the React or JavaScript world, this will be very familiar to you. So we'll just go into data.products, And then we're going to do map through them. Let's go ahead and get each individual item and create a div here. Throw in our title. So let's just do a strong tag. And I believe we have a product.title. Let's check this out. So yeah, we have a title, so iPhone 9. So I'm just accessing that attribute. So let's just see if that's working. So let's go back to our page. Projects. Okay, data, products, property undefined. Okay, something's not working here. Let's see. We have response, await. Oh, and I think I need to await this one too while it's parsing. Products is not defined.
So you did project as the in the value. So there's no such thing as products. So you got to do, and you did project as the keyword up there.
Oh, I see. I knew I was going to have an issue with that, with making a word so similar. All right, so there we go. So we have all our products. So that's everything in the API right there. We can even add a description. So we'll just do product.description. And I only know this stuff because I looked at that API call before. Here we have descriptions. We even have images. One thing I don't like about Next.js is this the image tag that they have. I really don't like it because I hate having to learn another thing when I already have the image tag with HTML, but I'm sure there's advantages to it. But with Astro, I can just simply use a standard image tag. So I love that. So we can just do, let's see, product.thumbnail, I believe was the tag for the URL. And there we go. So we'll fix up the styling later, but now we have a page of products here. And at this point, what I'm going to do is actually wrap everything in a link here.
So we're seeing you work through it, like, because I mean, I just cloned your repo. I didn't really do this on myself, but like, it's surprisingly like simple. Like, I mean,
It is.
yeah, especially if you know like some JavaScript and stuff, like obviously you still need to learn the syntax, but like this makes it really easy. I'm building actually a site that is fetching data and doing all that stuff with Next.js right now, and like doing this response and response.json and getting all the information. Like, I mean, I got it working, like, but it's all just messy together and was a little bit, like more confusing than this.
I can see that. Yeah. Okay, so it's so Next.js is because you're building it all within the component, right? Like in the function.
Yeah.
That's probably what really throws it off, I think. So product.id. Okay, so what I'm doing is just creating a link to each product. So there is an ID attribute here. Try to zoom in a little bit more. So every product has an ID. So they're just integers that auto increment here. So we're linking that up. And now to actually make these pages, it's going to be interesting. So I'm going to do my best to try to explain what the heck I'm doing here and why it's happening. So first of all, I can click on any image because it's all wrapped in the link. And this takes me to product and then the ID. So we see 1 right there. If you can see that, I don't know how zoomed it is. Products 3. So it's all working. The page just isn't working. So what we need to do, because everything's rendered on the server side, we need Astro to create these routes here. So this is something that I can reference the docs here. So if we go to routing, and I'm going to try to explain this, and then maybe I'll just show it and it'll make sense here. But essentially, we need to create some dynamic routes. So it's in routing and then dynamic routes. So basically, we need to pre-render all these pages so Astro creates them. So to create a dynamic route, we use the bracket syntax here. So what I'm going to do here is go into project here. And then let's see. Give me 1 second. Let me think this through. Actually, here, I'm just going to go ahead and go into pages. And I'm going to create a page for each project. So this will be project.astro. So this is going to be our dynamic page right here. So with this, there's a few things we need to do. First of all, I want to make sure each project page has our layout. So we'll just go ahead and import the layout. So import main layout from main layout. Okay, and then I'm also going to go ahead and get a prop here, but we'll take care of that later, actually. Actually, we'll just do title for now, and we'll just manually set this just so we don't accidentally get any issues later. Okay, so we have our main layout. We have our product. I'm just going to throw in something here so we see it when it's ready. And now we need to actually generate this page. So first of all, there's this thing, Dodas, you might be familiar with this, called get static paths. Have you ever used that?
Yeah, I did, but I never fully understood it.
Okay, so let me think about this here. Let's just write this out, and then I'll try to explain, because this is something that's actually pretty new to me as a Python developer. So get static paths. So that's the function. Okay, async function get static path. Why did that mess that up? Oh, it like imported something it wasn't supposed to. Give me a second. Okay. So essentially, what we need to do is use get static path. So first of all, we need the bracket notation. Then we need get static path that says these two things are a must. So it's a must. It's really important. This function explicitly pre-renders the paths here. So essentially, if we use something like this, let's say we do get static paths, we're going to tell Astro, go ahead and generate these URLs for us. So it's going to already know that there's templates that correlate with it. So for example, if we do params and then dog Clifford, whatever, we throw in a name here, it's going to generate a path for us like this. So right now, if we try to, let's say we have this, let's just try to comment this out. This is the part where I'm like, man, I don't know how to explain this one. If we try to go to this page, let's say we have our project. In theory, you think, oh, this is just going to be a dynamic route, and then we can throw in any project here. It's not working because Astro doesn't know about this path at all. So we're trying to generate that. Okay, so if I click on one of these, still not working. So I'm probably just going to have to risk it and not explain it. So let's see. Let's just go.
I'm reading about it right now, so maybe I could give it a shot. But so since Astro is a static site builder, so what we said is the paths are generated on the server, and you're just sent your HTML. And obviously, Astro has the islands and stuff like that where you can still update it. But like if we pretend like you're just sending the HTML, Astro has no way to know ahead of time of where those HTML paths are going to be. So it needs to know that these like site paths exist while it's still on the server and not being like clicked around within the actual HTML website. So
yeah. I mean, I think you got it.
Yeah, it says, so this function is required because Astro is a static site builder. This means your entire site is built ahead of time. If Astro doesn't know to generate a page at build time, your users won't see it when they visit your site. So, yeah.
Okay, so let's yeah, I mean it's difficult to explain, but I feel like if you go and do your research with that, maybe you might find some better videos on it, and it'll be easier to understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that though, I do want to, let's see, I think this is supposed to be an object here. So inside of each list item. Okay, give me a second. I'm trying to look at the Astro docs here. So we have, yeah, so we have an object here. Wraps around it. What's up?
He got some hype in the chat. Suhas said he watched you 3 years ago and watched all your videos and built an app. Fast forward today, he's a full stack Python developer with a great package.
Oh, dang. Nice.
Good job.
Good job, man.
No, you good job. I only started making shitty Flutter videos like 2 years ago, so I wasn't there 3 years ago.
Here's what I'm going to do. Instead of trying to explain this, let's just go with it. So first of all, there's this thing that we have in Astro called glob. I'm going to try to go over that. So let's see. So essentially, we're going to go ahead and call a wait, and we're going to call astro.glob. And this is where, again, the prep for the stream and my explanations are just not going to be good here. But we can actually use glob. And in fact, let's just look this up here and see what the official explanation of glob is. So
There's not
global
much.
glob. So Astro glob is a way to load local files into your static site setup. So we can use glob to actually go into our projects folder. So we're going to go back into .projects, and then we're going to go into / and I want to be able to load in markdown and MDX files. So we're just going to go ahead and use the curly braces here to make this value dynamic. And we'll just do .md or MDX. So let's see, I'm supposed to wrap all of this right here. So essentially what I'm doing here is I'm going into the projects folder. And I think this is supposed to be projects. Let's see, how did I do this?
Project. So without the S.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to create it and call it projects. So I'm going to rename this one. So we're going to have a folder and a file called projects. So we're going into projects, and then we're going to go ahead and grab all the MDX and MD files from there. So that's what that. So this is what this right here will do, is it will give us a list of all those files. Then what we'll do is we're actually going to go into all these files, and we're going to map through them, and we're going to create all those URLs. So that's what I was trying to demo with no success here. But we're just going to do projects.map, and we're going into each project, and we're going to loop through this, use the arrow function here, and we're going to go ahead and create our URL here. So we're going to do params, and the params is going to be based on this name right here. So we're going to have to call this one project. And then we're going to go ahead and throw in the dynamic syntax. So with our markdown files, we have something called front matter. So this right here, I guess I never mentioned that. This is front matter. So it's basically like the metadata to a markdown file. So we're going into, let's see, where did that go? Project right here. So we're going into project.front matter. And we're just, hold on a second. No, this is not right. We're not doing markdown files. We're doing projects. Wrong one. Okay. So we're going into product. Yeah, I knew that name was going to mess me up here. So where am I at right now? I'm in project or product here.
Are you sure your backticks are correct? Because I think according to the syntax, like highlighting on the inside the glob.
Yeah, we'll fix that. So yeah, that was supposed to be what that was actually supposed to be was for my markdown files, but I'm not going to do those right now. So what I'm actually going to do is go into the products page here. I'm going to make this same API call in the projects page. Here, let me just rework this. I'm going to create a new folder. Wow, I really messed myself up here. Okay, products. If you see me doing that, calling it products, just yell at me.
All right. You seem to be interchanging them, so I didn't want to call you out, but I'll try.
Okay, so inside of products here, create a new folder. And we're going to do something similar for projects anyway, so I'm going to leave that here. But with this one, we're just going to use the brackets, product, and .astro.
So this works. This should work fine, but isn't a normal syntax? Wouldn't that bracket product.astro be outside the products folder, and then each individual product would be in the products?
Well, there's going to be no individual products, so those are all coming from an API call. So we can structure this however we want. In fact, I'll even change that up a little bit.
Nah, that makes sense. Don't want to mess up anymore.
Okay, let's just do H1 product. Okay, so we're going to make this call, and then we're going to go into here. Let's just grab this. We'll close out project. Save it for now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make the same call inside of get static paths here.
Wait.
What's up?
No, nothing. Keep going.
Okay, so we're making a call, and then we are doing products.
Or data.
Data.products. And then for the params here, we'll just do product. So we're repeating this right here. And then we're going into product.id. Okay.
Nice.
So that's going to be the parameter. So it should generate that. And we're facing some syntactical errors here. Let's see what's going on. Why is that underlined?
If you stay over it, highlight over it, and then it'll pop up. So product implicitly has an any type, but a better name may be inferred from usage.
Okay.
I mean, it should work, I think.
It's more of a warning, yeah. It's more of a suggestion. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll just do props. And then in here, we're just going to go ahead and specify the prop, and that's going to be the product. So we want to pass that down in here. And then we want to actually get this prop here. So we'll just do const. And I'm going to go ahead and just get the product instead of destructuring it. We're going into astro.props.product. Okay. All right. Let's just see what's working and what's not. We'll fix up the page later. So we make the call. We use get static paths. We loop through and we create a URL that should use this template right here, product. And then we pass in the ID, and the path should be products and then the ID of it. Okay, nice. There we go. We have a dynamic route. Perfect. Okay, so to actually make the product page, let's just go ahead and do product.title. And then we'll just do the description, product.description. Perfect. So if I click on iPhone, for example, there's the iPhone. If I click on this MacBook, then we have the MacBook Pro. So let's just throw in the image at the top here.
So all that get static paths part is same concept that he was trying to show at the beginning, where it's just generating those that path basically on the server. It's just the reason it was a little bit more like complicated there is because he's doing it from the data he receives from an API. So in the general gist over there is he's generating these URLs to be like predetermined on the server side.
Yep.
So when you go to actually use it, you can get to them and you see all this stuff.
Right. By the way, are we late for other meeting? Are we good with that?
We got 20 minutes.
Okay. Well, here's what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to do the same for Markdown, for the Markdown file, and then we're going to style this real quick. So now for the projects, so we figured out the product, right? We have the dynamic URL. Looks like crap right now, but hey, we have them there, and we're actually able to go to the links. So it works. And then we have the product detail. We have the price right there. That's all checking out. So that should make sense. Now for the actual project, not product, project, let's close out some links here. This is where we use glob. So we have projects.astro. Here, let's actually start here. So what I'm going to do here is, first of all, render out all the projects. So these are markdown files inside of our projects page, right? So we have my first project. Let's just go ahead and duplicate this, and we'll just rename these. So we'll just do rename my second project.
You're using a Mac, right?
Yeah.
So just click on the one you want to rename and just click enter.
So click on it and hit enter. Oh, maybe Macs are cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say on the projects page, if I wanted to render all these out in the projects page, what I don't want to do is have to, see, that's the projects. So I don't want to have to manually do something like a link right here and then do // project one or go into the actual template. I want to be able to dynamically do this, but it's not an API call. So how do I do this? So with this, we have access to that glob function that we're able to use, and basically it lets us get static files and get those in an array. So for this is going to be very easy, and maybe this part will help you understand what I'm doing before we do the get static, or before we create the individual page for this. So we'll just do let projects, and then this is going to be await Astro dot glob, and we'll just go into / projects, and then we'll do / and then I want these to be markdown and MDX files. So do MD and MDX. So these are the type of files that we're going to allow. So once we have the projects, all I need to do here is just do projects. Actually, here, let's create a div because I do want to wrap this here in a second. And we'll just do projects.map. We'll go into each project. So this right here, this function just gave me a list of all those files. So we'll go into the project.
So I got a stupid question for you, just from a default web developer. Why do you use let there instead of, like, I think in the other ones you use const?
Do you don't know the difference between those two, or are you trying to elaborate on it?
I remember watching a video some time ago, but yes, I don't really know.
So just to set them up, so we used to have var. Var is still an option, but it's just less used. Const is basically any variable that you're not going to change. So actually const would work here. So this is just, I guess, a highlight. I'm sure there's more to it. Let's say if I want to change projects, I can't reassign it.
Yeah.
So if I want to do projects now is equal to an empty array, this will not work. But if it's let, then I can actually reassign it. So let will let me do this. Const will not.
Gotcha.
So
in this case, const would have worked, right?
Yeah, const works. I'll just leave it at const. So we're mapping through the projects, and for now, let's just go ahead and use an A tag, and we'll just do project. I think I can do .front matter. So this is the front matter part. Okay, so this is the part that I wanted to explain earlier. We'll just do .title. So we're going into front matter because this part of the project right here in the markdown file is a front matter. So we can add in a title here, and I'll just say, let's see, my first project. And then we'll just do the second one, my second project. And then let's do the third one real quick just to have all of them.
So there was a question if we can record this session. So it will be live on this channel forever after we're done with it. So
yeah,
you'll be able to see it after.
StreamYard does that by default for us. Okay, so I just added the front matter, and then now I can go into projects.frontmatter.title. So if you're doing this, make sure you do front matter right there. So now check this out. If I go to projects page, it's not going to work.
Because you missed a T in front matter. The second one. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, there we go. So check it out. These are just files. This isn't an API call, but now we have it listed out. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now to link this is kind of the annoying part. I'm sure there's a way around this, but I'm gonna have to try to find. I'm gonna make my own here. Essentially, like, what if we wanted to link to this? So we would go into, let's see, into projects, and then I think it's my first project, like that. So what I could do is I can manually, basically, I think I can maybe automatically generate the file name. I just haven't got into that. In fact, Adas, would you mind looking that up? Can you grab a file name? Is there a way to grab a file name in Astro? Because what I would like to do is something like this. I would like to just do project dot, file name or something like that. If there's
I've done it before. Let me see. So you usually, I think I just added in the front matter, but yeah, let me look into it about the best.
Yeah. One. So okay, so that's perfect chance to fix that issue. So check this out. First of all, this is the whole draft thing. So Tadas, you might want to look at this one. So our first project. So check this out. So it's we look at projects. We see my first project. If I do draft and then I set this to, hold on a second, that's not right. true, right?
So you want it to not be a draft if you wanted to show up. So you false.
Hold on. Okay, maybe I kind of messed up. If it's a draft, it shouldn't show. Huh. Okay, never mind. I'll fix it later. Let's let me look at my sample code here. Okay, let's see. Project.
So yeah, I think the site you created, dennisivy.com, and according to Astro, you just put a slug in the front matter, and then
yeah. Well, okay, let's see. Yeah, so that's kind of the issue, though, right? Because if I let's say I just do slug, and maybe this works. Maybe I missed something. Let's just say my slug is 1, like that, right?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be my first project. My second project will just do. I just don't think this will work, and I have a solution for it, but I don't like the solution as much. Slug is 2, and then because slug is technically a value that we can set on our own, so it's not like it's not like title, or it's not like not title but layout, or draft.
Gotcha.
Okay, so then if I go to my project list, we should do project dot front matter. Yeah, see, so it's not going to work because my slug doesn't really make sense. So it got the slug, so I see 2 right there. If I go to the first one, it works, but this doesn't work because it just has a value of 1, so that doesn't make sense. So what I could in theory do is try to do something like projects right here.
Gotcha.
But I still don't think this will work, but I'll just try everything.
Yeah, that's how we learn, just by trying random stuff.
So yeah, it doesn't work, right? So it needs to be the actual title. So what I could do is, this is what I did in the article here, or no, I didn't do this on my website. I actually changed it up. So if I do my second project, this works, but it's not dry. It's not, it doesn't follow the dry principles of don't repeat yourself, because now we have to make sure the slug is the same as our file name. So to make this work, this should be the last technical part, and then we can go into styling it if we still have time for that. What I'm going to have to do here is go into my project, and I'm actually going to go ahead and create it out here. So we have project. So we already started this process. We got all the projects. So we started taking care of this. We have our layout, and we'll just do project right here. Okay, so we use get static paths. We get all the projects from that file. So basically the same exact thing that we just did right here. So make sure you're following that. Close out the actual individual projects. And now we have to create the actual routes. So we're going to map through the projects here. And we're just going to go ahead and go into project, and then project.front matter. So this is the part where I realized that I was doing something wrong. So we're going into the slug here. So front
Project
matter.
singular.
So front matter. So basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to make this right here the new URL. I'm trying to make the slug. So whatever we add here, so it's basically not going to be file-based routing anymore. It's going to take that file and it's going to associate the slug with the URL here. So we already saw the issue, right? That kind of made sense why that didn't work.
Yeah.
So it was trying to do the default file-based routing. We're just trying to override that. So we'll just do props. And this is going to be just the project. We'll get this value here in a second. Okay, so we have that. At this point, this is the part where I didn't read up on too much. So we do have, we're going to use const here. We do have our content. I think this is a built-in value. I actually did not look into this. And we also have our front matter. So front matter, and that's going to be from astro.props.project. So by default, I always want the project title. So this is going to be the title right here. So we can go into front matter dot title. And then we're just going to go ahead and throw in the content. So the actual markdown content will sit right here. Okay. So let's see what's going on here. Okay, so that one is partially working. Okay. So we went through here. We should have generated a file path. Do we have product anywhere here? Because I know that we're doing that quite a bit before.
So what's going on?
I'm just trying to figure out, I'm trying to make sure this page is actually generated here. So I'm just looking at if I brought in the projects correctly and if I'm generating the URLs here, because it should override what we have. So give me a second. Yeah, let's try this actually. It could. No, that's not it. I had an issue with this last night, actually, so that's what I'm trying to see if I can resolve this. Okay, so we have projects. All the projects sit inside the projects folder. Then we have the individual projects, and then project.astro sits out here. So I think it's in this file that I'm not doing something correctly or right with. I'll just need a debug here for a second, so give me some time.
Sure.
Figure this out.
So I'm looking at the MDX docs, and it seems like what they're doing. I mean, I didn't, just a quick glance, is that you can define like a URL for it, and then
really,
yeah, within the front matter.
Can you share that with me? Let's see this. Can you maybe share a screen or send it in the chat?
Sure. Let me find it. I started scrolling again.
Because that would actually save me a lot of time. That'd be really nice.
Come on, where are you?
Because I really don't like this method. I don't like having to recreate these static files.
There. All right.
Oh shoot, my battery's low. Give me a second. Let me try to plug this up.
I'll share my screen while Dennis is gone. Stop screen share.
I'm not gonna be able to hear you. I'm gonna take out my headphones here. Give me a second.
All right. Oh, wait, no, this got to be bigger. There we go. All right, so exported properties. We're able to add an URL and some other stuff. So there was something better that I saw up here, I think. MDX. Exported properties, front matter, layout title. Where is it? Did I click something random?
What's up? Where are we at?
Let me look in the file. I swear I saw it somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be so much better. I really don't like this method.
Markdown layout props. Maybe this. Oh, there we go. So yeah, you could have front matter and then URL. You could have front matter.url. So it could look like this. So this is front matter from a blog post. You could add an URL or file. But
hold on. So I'm putting this in the markdown file, or is this MDX? How am I? Okay, so that's markdown
layout props.
Okay, Astro, for example, Astro props object front matter URL. Oh, okay. Hold on a second. Maybe that could work. Let's try to. I guess let's just comment out here. We can jump back into my code here.
So it says the URL and the file are generated values. So what if you just try frontmatter.url?
Yeah. So here, let's you're right. That actually would be awesome if that's the case. So I don't like doing this right here. Look at that, learning as we're doing this. Okay, so this is in projects. front matter dot URL. Yeah, that would make sense. So I guess what we'd have to do is look up the default built-in values.
So, damn.
Just static paths.
That would have been nice if that just worked.
Okay. Maybe I have to set the URL value.
You might.
In front matter, let's try this. Because I need it to override that file path, and I'm able to do that right now. Where I'm obviously facing this issue right here, but let's try this. So we'll just do URL. Okay, get static paths function is required. Since when? Oh, you're right. Okay, yeah. So I don't think we have to do this. So that's this actually isn't really an option. So we're gonna go back to.
What if you go where you made the get static paths and then made the get static paths from the MDX URL property?
Well, that's what we're doing here. We're just using the slug.
Okay,
yeah, we're doing that already. That's exactly what I'm trying to solve. Like, it'll work here in a second. Let's just figure out what the hell is going on here. Let me look at my demo. Okay, let's see. Okay, so projects star dot. Oh, I think I see what's happening. I have a mistake here. Star.mdx.
Damn. Oh, did it work?
Not yet. It will in a second, though. Front matter.title. I just want to make sure that's all good. Let's just actually get this front matter title in here. So that way it's SEO friendly. And then let's see, how do I render this out? Projects. I'm glad we're still able to make this stream work.
Yeah.
I was so frustrated before. Okay.
I've been learning a ton.
You are? Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had like the basics of seeing you like put it out from the beginning is.
Ew, no.
But it's undefined.
I just got excited and then I realized what happened.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, hold on. That works. I see what's happening. So it's undefined because my first project no longer has a slug. So you see how we put one for the slug? So it's no longer going to need this file path. It should work with just one. So look at that.
No, gotcha.
My first project. Now, for some reason, we have a repeat of our navbar. That's I'm sure it's a small issue though. I'll have to make a formal video on this. I actually do want to put out a tutorial and kind of solve all the issues. So once we have this, we should try to style it. Are we out of time?
Yeah, we're good. I told them we're busy, so
okay. We got better stuff to do, right?
Yeah,
sit in boring meetings. I hope they're not watching. They're not watching us talk crap about them. Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's see. So we got the title. Oh, I never extracted the title. So const, let's do. That's going to be Astro. Astro.props.title. So we're just going to extract project. JavaScript already fixed that issue for us. So we're just extracting that. I just realized, why the heck did I do this twice? I guess I could have just put in title right here.
Yeah, but it looks better on its own line.
Okay, so we have that, and we have the content. So why is... I see what's happening. At least I think I see what's happening. So what we're doing here is once we do this, we are actually... we don't want to use this method right here. So that's one way of doing it. And that's where I almost feel like there's got to be an automated way of doing it, but maybe I'm wrong. That's like a little shortcut to create the layout. But now that we do that, here we go. We fix that. We have my title. Let's get rid of, let's see. What am I doing here, Mo?
It makes sense because for that layout, you would probably, so right now you're doing only one layout thing, so like the main website layout. But for each article or each project or whatever, you would probably have a layout for that specific project. So you would want to use both like layouts.
True, just a little
like
shortcut.
one outside of the whole thing, and then one that's specific to an article. So
well, what I could do is I can also create an article layout right here and change that up. So that's pretty easy. Okay, so a small issue. I just realized before the stream, I put my template code on my other computer. So I'm gonna have to try to move that over. So what I'm gonna do here is actually copy some code and then send it over.
The CSS code, I'm assuming?
Yeah, so I'll just copy it and wait, hold on. Maybe I did it on here. Oh no, it's right here. Okay, cool. So I actually do have it. So let's see. We'll go into new window. I'm gonna have 3 windows open, so this might throw me off a bit. But Astro stream, okay, new portfolio is what I called it. So for anybody watching this, we'll push this GitHub repo. We'll make it live. Just go into the CSS file and copy all of this. It's not too much. Let's see how many lines it is. That's about 272 lines. But I have a dark and a light theme in here. It's not going to be an automatic theme switcher, but you will be able to switch between them. So just go ahead and copy that CSS. And then what we're going to do is go through and start modifying our code here. So for the CSS, we're just going to go ahead and create a new file here. This will be called styles, and then.
So you already have a folder, styles and main.
Do I? Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah. Wait, hold on. No, that's not right. I'm working in this project, so I have to create it. See, that's the whole thing with having multiple. Okay, so styles.css, and there's so many tricks to the CSS and how to do this. Like, we haven't even touched the surface of the Astro docs. There's so much to it. We're just building out pretty basic stuff here, but there's different ways of working with the CSS files, which is actually really nice. We'll move that to trash. We'll have to create a folder. Thought I created one.
You did, but you named it .css.
Oh, I see. Okay, and then we'll just do new main.css. We'll just paste all of that in there. You know what I just did? I just did Control-C. Dang it. Or Command-C. I do that all the time.
Me too.
Okay. New portfolio. So Command-C and then Command-V. Okay, so essentially I have my CSS variables. We have a dark and a light theme. If you notice, all of these have light, all these have dark, and then we have the actual variables. And all we need to do to change the color is change this final part, so either light or dark. Template code here, navbar styling, and then everything for our projects, our products, social links, and then responsiveness. Okay, so to use this, we're just going to go ahead and put this into our component, our layout component. So we'll just do, let's see, how do I do this? I think I can just do import and then styles main.css. So that should already start applying it. So I already changed it to dark theme here. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll actually here to change the theme. I just want to show everyone. We'll start with white and then we'll go to dark theme later. So we just go to this last little section here in the CSS variables, and then you could do Control or Command D, highlight all the dark and change this to light. Okay, so let's start with our projects here. So here are 3 projects. You can see the styling's a little bit different. In order to make this work, we're going into that page here, and we're just going to change the HTML. The HTML will adjust because all the CSS is already built out here. So let me go to my demo code. Give me a second.
Did you write all that CSS yourself?
I did.
Why'd you choose writing out CSS instead of Tailwind?
Why would I use Tailwind instead of CSS? That's my question for you. Anytime someone asks me that, I always just ask the question in return.
I just did it for for the others because CSS is hard.
CSS is not hard.
Yeah, there's all these dashes and all this random stuff, and you don't
Tailwinds.
have to,
So somebody can make the same argument and say Tailwind is just as hard, right?
I think for me, they just have like whenever I Google like how to center something and I try to do it with CSS, it never works, and I'm just doing
You're
a whole
still
bunch
trying
of
to center a
random
div?
stuff. Huh?
You're still trying to center a div?
Yeah, I am. But with Tailwind, like it sometimes works. Not all the time, but I figured it out a couple of times.
With CSS is hard, with Tailwind it's sometimes hard. No,
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. You're going to have to learn CSS regardless, and Tailwind is cool because you're pretty much are writing CSS. But this is what I know, and I like people to start from here. I'll eventually switch more to Tailwind, but here's the thing. Everybody who knows Tailwind knows CSS, but not everybody who knows CSS knows Tailwind, right?
Yep.
So if I start using CSS, I alienate a huge part of the audience by doing that.
That makes sense.
Okay, so what's up?
You can teach them about Tailwind, and then you don't alienate anything and make Tailwind some money.
Yeah, but not everybody who watches my videos will watch my Tailwind, video,
Right.
I guess. See, there's always an argument.
I'm the guy talking about that doesn't know anything about creating UIs or anything. Every tutorial I've made has been just like using the very basic stuff. But
okay, so this class should work, previews list, and then I should be able to add in a class to each div here. So I'm gonna have to restructure some HTML, but basically we put in this preview list class, which can be found right here. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but it creates a grid. So I use CSS grids here. We're going to go into this div right here, and this is going to have the class of preview dash card. I'm trying my best to implement the BEM methods or BEM. Here, let me try to zoom out a little bit. Okay, so there we go. So the structure actually looks better. So that's working. I'm going to take this link right here and wrap it probably. So let's see. In this card, first of all, I want to use a strong tag for my title here, and we'll just do project.frontmatter.title. Give this one a class of preview hyphen card. And this is how BEM works. Basically, if it's a sub or if it's like a child of an element, you do double underscore like this, I believe. So that's how I understand it. For the entire card, I'm going to wrap this in a link. So we'll just go ahead and do that.
So BEM is like a way to like be organized with CSS, I'm assuming?
Yeah, so I'll explain that actually in a second. I know that's not the topic of conversation, but I think it's a good one to discuss. Dang it. So this autocomplete is starting to throw me off.
It's an A. So you got you're missing a quote after the slug part. So it's
is that why? Okay.
Yeah. And you have an A up there, so you're a back tick.
Okay, so I need to grab
after the slug. Should be the back tick, right?
I'll figure it out right now. So
yeah, after the parenthesis, I mean, yeah. There you go.
In theory, I actually don't need backticks at all.
Yeah.
Because I thought I had to put the other section in there. Okay, so that should do it, which means I can get rid of this one. So now, okay, so now this should be clickable. Okay, cool. So if you look up CSS, so this is a pretty good article on this. Essentially, it's a way of writing it. So let's say you have a button, so it's BTN. So an element that depends on a block. So let's say it's like a subcategory of a button. You do underscore. So button price or button value or whatever that is, you do double underscores. But if it's a modifier like a button color, you would do hyphen hyphen. So it's just a good practice to follow that. Now with naming, I just do a single hyphen. So like right here, I just have preview card. So that's not really BM. It's not BEM. It's just a name, it's just how I decided to name it. But that's kind of the structure. I'm trying to figure out, trying to learn it a little bit better, or at least implement it. I understand it, but don't always implement it the best. So let's just do project dot front matter dot description, and we don't have a description yet, I don't believe.
I don't think so. And front matter, 2 T's in the matter.
Keep doing that. So let's just do this. Let's just grab that description right there. That'll be our description, and we'll just put this into each project. So for some reason, I don't know why this draft isn't working. So let's just try this again.
I think there's I think I know. I was looking into this. You have to add a config in the Astro config part.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Let me look it up again so I could.
Yeah, that'd be nice to actually show right now. Okay, so while you're doing that, let me just finish up all the descriptions. All right, so there we go. So we have all our descriptions to this, and I'm a little bit zoomed in, but we'll just leave it like that. And where am I at?
If you want to do a drafts thing, go to your astroconfig.mjs file.
Here, 1 second. Let me actually, I kind of like this little trophy emoji. I set it like that because it's like I completed the project. Here, I'll just look this up.
So go to your, I can show you how to do it with a Mac. It's easier. You can just pull it up straight from your keyboard.
For what? For the...
Just anywhere.
Hold on a second. I'm trying to get this emoji. Freaking Max. Why can't I grab
Come on, Dennis.
Okay, let's see.
All right. Go to the editor and press Control Command period, I think. Or Option Command period. There you go. Wait, no.
Hold on, I just wanted to. Okay, there we go. Okay, Option Command period.
Wait.
Wait, you want me to go to the Astro config page? It's right here. You can find it.
Oh, any text field, you should be able to add an emoji.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that should be. I just don't always know the names of them. Usually I have to start typing in the name, but I just added in like that. Okay, so that's our project preview. Were you still trying to show me how to do the draft thing, right?
All right, wait, hold on. Go back to VS Code. That's not VS Code. All right, so go where you want to do Control Command Space.
For what?
Anywhere. Just click Control Command Space.
Control Command Space.
Now type in trophy.
There we go.
Trophy TR.
Got it. Okay.
Now you can pick that trophy and add it in.
Nice. Okay.
Well, you don't need to go going.
Control Command Space. I'll have to try to remember that. Okay. So now let's do our products page. So products here.
You want to do the drafts?
Oh yeah. Do you know that right now?
Yes. Go to the config for Astro.
Astro config. Okay.
And add so define config. Do markdown semicolon or markdown colon. Yeah, and then brackets drafts colon true, or not those brackets, the squiggly brackets.
Curly braces.
Yeah.
Drafts colon true, like that.
Yep. And I think you're gonna have to npm run dev if I remember correctly.
Okay, so then if I go to my second project, draft true, which should. That's weird. Let's see.
All right, I'll keep looking.
Yeah, let me.
You have to filter by draft ones, I think.
No, I mean I could manually run that filter, but it should that's the whole point of that attribute is that it should do that. by default. So meanwhile, I'm going to go to the products page. I want to style up the products here. I know it's not the main focus. People want to get to the homepage probably because that's what you're probably focusing on for the portfolio site. But let's just get this taken care of. So again, all the CSS is implemented. Okay, we have H1 products, and then we have this main wrapper. This will be previews underscore list. Then we want to wrap everything in a link right here. So we have that taken care of. Then a div inside of that. Class preview double underscore card. Or preview dash card. Then double underscore. No, that wasn't the right one. Dang it. Okay, preview card. Then the image.
So I'm looking it up. That should have worked, but
we'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. So that's our products page, and that looks a little bit better. I'm not going to deal with the specific product page, but let's see. We have our title, description, everything looks good. Yeah. So, okay. So projects don't have an image. Products do have an image. And resume, we aren't linking anything up. Let's see what that looks like on or in dark mode. Okay, Control D. I'll just do the rest in dark mode. I just like dark mode. Can you guys see that pretty well?
Yeah, that looks pretty good. I like it.
All right. There's our products page. All right, so for this section, it's going to be very easy because we're just going to copy a bunch of the stuff from the template. We're going to go into the home page.
I'm going to go ahead to the bathroom real quick. I've been holding it for like an hour.
Cool.
I'll be right back.
Do your thing. Okay, so I'm still going to have to render some projects here. So I'm going to take this main section. So we have our hero section. Let's copy this. Okay, that's going to be in index.html. Fix the indentation here. Okay, so we have our first section here. I do need to bring in this image. So what I'm going to do here is actually just copy the image from that template too. So I just want to bring this in. And that's going to be right here. So I'm just going to use my picture. I need to bring that into my Astro site. So new portfolio. No, that's going to be Astro stream. And what I'm going to do here is actually throw this into the public folder. We're going to create a new folder called images for static files here. And there are different ways of maintaining static files. So for now, we'll just keep everything in here. So I just need to import the actual image. So we'll just import profile underscore pic. And that's going to be from, we're going into images and then profile underscore pic dot png. I think that was. Or JPEG.
I'm back, by the way, so if you need me.
I can hear you breathing. Okay, so we just got that section here taken care of. The next one is going to be, so that's the hero section. Then we want to copy the tech stack container. So I'm just going to minimize it, copy all this. Nothing dynamic in this section, so that should be pretty easy to add. Let's see. So that's going to be underneath this one. Create some space so people can see that. Always throws off the indentation. Okay, so we have the tech stack, and then next section is going to be the projects, I believe, which I do need to make dynamic. I definitely want to do something like this and actually come out with a full tutorial on this with like authentication and stuff. So maybe this will be one of our longer streams with us. So we can work on different parts of it.
Sure. This one?
Not this site, but like with Astro, like do like the authentication and all the other stuff. So for this part, I'm actually going to grab both sections. So the social links and the project section. Then I'll make the projects dynamic. Yeah, just I'm talking about like using Astro and actually go through like authentication and all this, like the dynamic stuff, basically adding in, you know,
Yeah, I'm
React or whatever we need to it, Svelte.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I mean, I feel like after learning about it some more today, I'm pretty happy with Astro. I feel like it should. I feel like it's probably going to be the thing I'll be using for
a lot of people are switching to it. Yeah,
like until the next one comes out next week.
I do want to give Remix a shot, just because I can't help it.
Yeah, I've heard good things, but what's the
I don't know
hype about Remix? I think it was just
Should we?
Let me look it
up. Do you want to try not looking? Do you want to try not looking at it at all, and then do that during the stream?
Yeah, I'm done. All right.
All right. So let's get the projects in right now. So we're just gonna do const projects, and that's gonna be, let's see if I can remember it. Astro .glob, I believe. Is it capital or
lowercase? Yeah.
Okay, Astro glob. And then we're going into projects. Here, you know what? I'm just gonna copy this. Okay, await Astro glob projects, and then we get all the projects. So we'll just repeat that here. And then instead of manually rendering these out to make these actually dynamic here, what I could do, I guess, is just delete these right here. And then just run that for loop. But instead of doing that, I'm just going to be lazy, go to the projects page, and then grab the entire for loop. There's no reason to rewrite this. So stick this under project previews.
Oh,
yeah, it would be fun, like with no context at all, like just to start looking at Remix, like with no prep.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, subscribe if you want to see that. So I looked at the drafts thing, and there's a big like exclamation point that says drafts and Astro glob. Although drafts true will prevent a page from being built on your site at that page route, Astro.glob currently returns all your markdown files.
That's weird because I swear I made it work before. All right, that's our site. That's what we built with projects, products.
So wait, what happens if you click on a project?
That's
so maybe it's because it's not go to projects again. So if you click on it, it's not /project/3. That's just projects. Could that be it?
Yeah, I think that's simply where I put it. Like, I think I could just do, and this might break it right now, but let's give it a shot. So close everything else out. Pages, projects are in the projects page, and then I could drag that in here. Okay, let's see if we can solve this issue. Okay, so it's still linking up to it. How do I do products?
Make sure you.
So products, see, I don't like having to do that. So what I could do is I can just simply go to projects here. And by the way, I just realized this would be better in its own component. Like this is where breaking this into a component would be better. But I could just do backticks and by the way, I wouldn't recommend doing that just for SEO purposes. It's better not to, at least to my understanding. Not to do project.
Like it's better to have your article and just in the root. Or what?
That's how I understood it, but I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But I mean, if you look at, like, let's say, Flavio Scopes, I think.
Yeah.
He's one of the best technical writers I know, and you look at his stuff. Any article, let's just do JavaScript or something like that. I don't know. Find an article by him. So like Free Code Camp, for example, if you go, I guess that's just his author profile. Basically, you want your URLs to be as short as possible. I haven't done SEO stuff for a while, but you want your URLs to be as short as possible. Like right here, here's an article. There's no like post or article / like it really can impact it. I don't know how big of an impact it is, but it seems like there is a little bit. Yeah. The only downside to that is you have to make sure none of your pages are named the same as your article, but
Yeah.
something you can usually watch out for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
try to reload the page, because now go to like click projects at the top, because you're like in your navigation bar, because you're still in the not in the roots, because now it's there you go. Now click it. Ah, damn. So wait, now maybe you need the main layout, because I know that doesn't make sense. But the URL is right there.
I think that's something we can fix in another time, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see. If I close that
out,
out,
you want to move the projects folder out of the bracket thing out of there.
That's something to look into for next stream.
Yeah, there you go.
What I think you should do is add the picture of the portfolio site on the stream though, instead of just the Astro thing. Like get some screenshots of this. What's up?
The thumbnail.
So
right?
So we'll link up this source code in the video description. We'll modify the thumbnail, and then I'll make sure that the actual template is in there. In fact, what I could do is just go to my desktop here, and we'll just do. Is this not my desktop? Oh, yeah, I'll do it later, but we'll just we'll get the template. We'll throw it in here, so if you want to follow along, you can actually do the copying and pasting just as we did. Yeah.
Sounds good.
How many people we have in the stream here and chat?
Right now 5, but we had 10 at one point. Anyways, nice, it was definitely fun. We're done, right? For this one?
Yeah, site's done.
Well, good job. Thank you for running the code, because I think I would have struggled quite a bit. I did not know a lot of the things that I thought the stream set up.
This is how I'm coding. I've never done it like this.
The full stack developer setup.
Yep.
But
cool.
All right. Thank you for everybody that joined. Thank you, Dennis, for teaching me. Astro seems pretty dope. Hopefully you guys learned something, and then we might also either one of us will make a video out of this, or I might just cut this stream up.
Clip it up, yeah. It could be worth it, just put it together a little tutorial, just more structured, like actually write it out, because I didn't have my reference notes for that, but yeah, we can still do that, and I think it should be on this channel too. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. I'll see everybody later, and see you later too, Dennis.
You know how to end the stream?
No, how do you do it?
You have to click end stream at the top right.
I know that part.
Oh, okay.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye.